Greetings, how are you? So I had a guy that was asking for validation, I suspect. And I'm more than happy to give it to him. And I want you to keep this in mind. This was in my younger, youthful days when I didn't quite have so much knowledge. Nowadays, I'd keep these 3 pages down to about a paragraph and watch them all shake nervously as they read it going, oh shit. These things are a lot simpler. It's important to know that there's more than one way to skin this cat, all right? It's more than one way to hang this demon and purge it from your life. So anybody out there that says, I've got the only way, I've got the surefire way is full of shit because this has been going on for 10,000 fucking years, all right? The judiciary is no different than it was in the time of Rome. Same shit, different day. But the guy alleged that he went and he pulled my case, which I know he's full of shit because it's sealed. There's a picture on the Facebook wall of it now. And if he did get access to it, then he must be a fucking lawyer. I can't see any other way that he'd be able to access such a filing rendered by the court, which is clearly in the picture ordered sealed. Everything. The records, the transcripts, all of it. So here we go. This is what was in the court that I put before the court in November 2nd of 2018. And as you see, we put us a nice little stamp up there, you know, because everything that's taxed or whatever, according to the Stamp Tax Act, we become the postmaster of the document. It's mail matter. And, of course, my one and only seal, granted to me by the Heavenly Father, in red, signifying the blood of Jesus Christ, which runs through each and every one of our bodies, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So the state of Nebraska and the District Court for Valley County, state of Nebraska versus Derek S. Gonzalez, which is a misnomer, okay? Derek S. Gonzalez is in all capital letters. It's an artwork, and it's an unregistered DBA. So technically, I could have defeated him on the process of service and due process of law. But I like fucking with these people. So we just let little shit slide. We're not going to argue about the semantics and grammar and everything else. I want to spank their hind end because I think it's funny that a man who dropped out of school at 13 can spank somebody that spent $70, $80 to $180,000 in school and education. And I think it's fucking hilarious that I can spank them. I think it's funny, okay? And it gives me hope that the rest of you guys can do it too, because I'm not the sharpest guy on the block, I promise. Case number CR 1809. As I stated before, it's sealed. All the records are sealed. I'm the only one that can go get them. Because why? I'm an interested party to the case. So even though it's sealed, even though people say, oh, we won cases, but you can't see them, I'm here to tell you now, if you really know what you're doing, you can walk back in there if you're an interested party in the subject matter, and you can go get the transcripts at any time. I don't give a shit if it's sealed or not. It doesn't matter. All right? So I went back and I got them. Not only did I get them, I made sure that they copied them in fucking color, all right? Because I'm the damn king. I'm the one that makes the orders, period. And they did so, all right? They're being respectful at that point. And I don't hold any ill will or animosity to these people. It's really disturbing what they get away with, but they leave me alone now. I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of this 3-page document that really I could have narrowed down to a paragraph and been done with these people. But this is how much research I went through for 16 to 18 hours a day to beat a stupid case, all right? To beat a stupid case. Here we go. And I'm going to give it to you guys because it's all great stuff. I, Derek Gonzalez, beneficiary for the Derek Gonzalez Sister K Trust, to notice the court of my letter rogatory to Valley County District Court and demand my name be cleared of all this alleged criminal case for the reasons set forth below. I, Derek Gonzalez, have learned that this alleged court that has scheduled a case cause claim against me is not really a court as per the Constitution of the United States, but rather a tribunal operated as a private corporation. How's my first statement right out the gate? Just blowing holes in their ship. Screw the shot across the bow, start blowing holes, gaping wounds in their ship with these words. I have learned of the fraud that goes on behind the scenes of these alleged criminal cases, which are really civil claims in equity. Roman civil equity, mind you, not the exclusive jurisdiction of equity, two different realms. One's on the public side, the other is on the private side. And the steps taken to securitize these civil claims without giving full disclosure to the people. I am hereby letting the court know that I am opting out of any contract and do not allow any documents regarding me or my Cestui Que Trust to be securitized and sold to any investors, etc. Number 3, the fraudulent process is as follows. You guys ready for this shit? This is deep. All cases are civil, though often fraudulently called criminal. Why are they civil and not criminal? Well, because there is no affiant stating a claim for which relief can be granted, independently bonded with an affidavit attached to the alleged harm, damage, injury, or loss that was caused to them. Okay? It's a state, so it's a contract. It's a civil matter. All right? And the civil matter, well, all I need you to do is bring forward the wedding signature of the contract that was mutually beneficial for all parties involved and that we had an ascension of the mind. You bring that forward. If you can't bring the man forward that signed on to that contract aside from me, well, then I have the right to vacate that signature. I can stop that contract at any time. Go fly a kite. I'm done. It doesn't seem beneficial anymore. I'm out. I opt out. See you later. Hasta luego. All right? Without giving full disclosure to the people, I am hereby letting the court know that I am opting out of any contract and do not allow any document regarding me or my Cestui Que Trust to be securitized or sold to any investors, etc. The fraudulent process is as follows. All cases are civil, though often fraudulently called criminal. The courts are operating under trust law, assuming the defendant is a decedent, okay? After finding the alleged defendant guilty, the court clerk sells the judgment to the federal courts. Since the defendant is a decedent, the court officials consider themselves as a beneficiary, right? But this is for future earnings off the securities, the dividends and derivatives that will roll back in. So they're not filing the 1099-R because they're being real slick willy about it. They're not actually saying that the case was monetized when they were engaged in it, although it happens afterwards. So they're sliding out from having to file their 1099-Rs on this shit, and they're putting it into special privatized trust. And then after 3 years, you abandon it, and they turn around, whisk it away as abandoned property. No different than your car on the side of the road when they stick the orange sticker on it, give you 72 hours, nobody comes back and picks up the automobile, the state just seizes it, right? They call it an obstruction on the roadway and it's a safety hazard. It's bullshit. It's just about stealing assets, period. After finding the alleged defendant guilty, the court clerk sells the judgment to the federal courts. Since the defendant is a decedent, the court officials consider themselves as the beneficiary. When a judge asks if a person understands, he or she is asking if the person is liable for the bond. I am not responsible for the bond of this case, but I will appoint the judge as trustee fiduciary and be the beneficiary of all proceeds. All proceeds. Rights, titles, interest, dividends, derivatives, debentures, hediments, general tangibles, general intangibles, chattel securities, trust res. You got to remember that. The judgments are stamped with something to the effect of paid to the order of on the back and taken to the federal discount window. The judgment now becomes a note. The notes are then pooled together and then become securities, which are yet pooled together and sold as bonds. Now, keep in mind, I submitted this to the court. Not a fucking response. Crickets. Nothing. Said bonds are liens against me. Well, in retrospect, they're really liens against my entity, the entity. The United States Attorney's Office has a put code, PUT, code number, and a NAICS, North American Identification Security Classification number. Said NAICS number enables the United States Attorney's Office to trade globally all securities. All U.S. federal courts are registered with the DOD, Department of Defense. Why do you think I called the Department of Defense? When I found out these little jokers were behind this shit and not protecting the American people and allowing this shit to slide, I was pissed. All right, here we are fighting all these foreign wars for our fucking freedom, and I find out the DOD is backdooring us in the cornhole. Pissed me off, right? I mean, I don't know about you, But I was pissed. So, call the Department of Defense. Hey, you've got some rogue fucking hellhounds out here, and if you don't get a hold of them, I'm going to get a hold of them. It ain't going to be pretty. You better get a hold of your fucking dogs. And they did. Where they are registered with CCR, Contractors Central Registration, under the DoD, which another department called the DLIS, Defense Logistics Information Service, which issues a cage code, which means a commercial and government entity, which everything corresponds with their bank account. Said United States Attorney's Office and courts have a DUNS number, Duns and Bradstreet. 11. Everything filed into a court is securitized without the knowledge or consent of the people or of all parties involved. Ladies, I'm dropping the gold for you tonight. All criminal cases not heard in an Article 3 court, District Court of the United States, are really civil. However, the courts again commit fraud by labeling the case as criminal. All cases which are pled out or have a guilty conviction labeled the civil defendant through unlawful conversion as felons when they are not. This is fraud upon the people at large, and certainly fraud upon the alleged defendants. The bank account is the Federal Reserve Bank account of New York in New York City. The depository agreement is signed by the clerk of the court. All securities are then deposited with the DTC in New York. An escrow agent is used as a go-between between the clerk's office and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The securities end up being listed through the 7th Circuit, Chicago, Illinois, then sent to the DTCC, the clearinghouse, whom lists the securities for trading. All of the lawyers involved are acting as private debt collectors according to the FDCPA, the Federal Debt Collection Practice Act. If you guys ain't read it yet, that's a jewel. That's a jewel right there. The FDCPA, once you're invoking the FDCPA, ladies and gentlemen, you can put them in their spot as a trustee and they can't wiggle out of that shit for nothing. Not a damn thing. Title 15, subsection 1692, the Bar Association exempts them from having to register as such. However, they operate through call warrants, which are like a put, a PUT, or a call. Doing margin calls is where they convert a case through similar to a writ of execution, use the case number to buy equity securities. Everything filed into a court is securitized and turned into a negotiable instrument, and then turning them into securities. These items are sold commercial items. Calling them distressed debts, unifund, the items are then pooled together in what is now called a hedge fund, where they are sold globally. Anytime when there is risk management involved, it is for the securities. This is an underwriting company. When the hedge funds are going into the global market, they go through Euler Hermes, and that's EULERHERMES. A bondholder, an underwriting company, and subdivision of Allianz SE, so it's LLIANZ SE, of Munich, Germany, PIMCO bonds. All right? After 9 months, all paper is converted to security status. This is defined in Title 15, subsection 71, AB1, and now considered to be an investment contract. The paper is then endorsed to become a security, and the trust is then collapsed. The courts have an account with the IMF, International Monetary Fund, under Interpol. The judges involved and the U.S. attorneys involved do not have an accessible oath of office because they cover up the fact that the oath of office is between them and the IMF. The U.S. judges and U.S. attorneys are actually employees of the IMF and have expatriated out of the United States. They are now unregistered foreign agents under Title 22, which states all foreign agents must be registered, and that's according to the Foreign Registration Act of 1938. All right? The court judgments are deposited with the IMF. Since this case obviously involves me, I have a drawing right to all proceeds. See UCC subsection 3-305 and 3-306. The court judgments are monopolized according to Title 16, which is a violation of the antitrust laws and also unfair trade practices. Indictments are true bills, meaning they are negotiable instruments. The district attorney failed to give me a 1099 OID showing me as the recipient of the funds, which is fraud upon me. In my case, I have not been indicted, but still request a 1099 OID unless this court wishes to close this account. The unlawful funds through fraud and deception are deposited in the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and they have not paid the tax on this income. According to the IRC, this is a subsection 7201 of Title 26 violation, willful failure to file with the intent to evade taxes. A copy of the depository resolution agreement was not made available to me from the clerk of the court. The clerk of the court deposits into the Federal Reserve Bank of New York via electronic fund transfer, EFTs, which was modified in 2017. The clerk has a PMI, private money investment account, which also has a government code. According to the clerk's praxis, the clerk of the United States District Court is the registrar in admiralty. According to the IRS, subsection 6209, decoding manual, and the ADP, automated data processing manual, all 1099s are class 5 gift and estate taxes. All right? I am asking for the 1099 OID in this case as I am not willing to gift you the proceeds. I am hereby asking for the proceeds in their entirety, including interest. I have never pledged my rights or my body to any gifting program, including any court or court process. I am not a charitable organization. I demand all funds from this case be sent to me within 30 days, or I will file complaints to the IRS and the SEC Securities Exchange Commission, explaining the fraud and the theft committed upon me, and issue a 1099 OID. Now, I never followed through with issuing. I did the 3506, the 13909, the 211 form. I did file all that stuff, but to no avail. And I really didn't have time to meddle with it after that. This came from Free Inhabitant, and it is bad to the bone. So bad that when it was filed into the case, then the clerk of the court told me it couldn't be in there anymore, which was really odd. It was really odd to me. That can't be filed. That can't be filed. Anyway, long story short, they got it into the court, but it was never marked as an exhibit or evidence or anything of the sort. This case in particular, we handled this and settled this in equity, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope to the man that inquired about my integrity, I hope this helps put that to rest for you tonight. And look below this video and you'll actually see the acquittal dismissal in blue wet ink. I walked out that baby with that. Now, I know that it has value. I just haven't figured out how to utilize it yet, but it's coming. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate all your guys' support. And again, look down below this video and you'll see the document that I'm speaking of that validates what I'm saying. And so there's 13 other cases. I can pull them all out as well, and we can start going through them. It's frivolous. There's better things to be moving forward on, but if you needed validation, there it is.